After 5 years, 16 matchups, 11 majors, someone's getting left behind. Half a decade of drama, so many tight matches, and more iconic moments than most rivalries produce in a lifetime. For a while, we kept asking, who's the third wheel? Who else can break through and challenge these guys?
Well, things have changed, and now we've hit a tipping point.
Carlos Alcaraz has now won 3 of the last 4 majors, including the last 2 hardcourt slams, and that was supposed to be Sinner's turf. And looking at how Carlos has pulled away from the rest of the field in the last couple of months, it isn't about someone else stepping up anymore.
The real question is, who gets left behind, and is 2026 the year we find out?
Why do we love rivalries in sports? One word: contrast. Borg and McEnroe were worlds apart. The stoic Swede baseliner versus the eccentric net-rushing New Yorker. You couldn't script it better. Sampras and Agassi, complete opposites. The best server versus the best returner.
Was a big serve, was a better return.
Federer and Nadal, you already get the point. Grace versus grit. Now, we've got Sinner and Alcaraz following that exact same blueprint. Jannik Sinner might be your future GOAT because you love that machine-like precision from the baseline, the way he breaks you down piece by piece without ever giving you an inch. Or maybe it's his ice-cool demeanor.
Yes, very happy about today. Very happy about today's performance.
On the other hand, Alcaraz might be your guy because he's an entertainer. Explosive, creative, energetic. You love how he brings the crowd into it, how he feeds off the energy and then gives it right back tenfold.
Alcaraz.
Here's the thing though. Historically, fans gravitate toward the showmen, but that doesn't always translate to these showmen winning more trophies than their rivals. Sometimes it's the cold, calculated assassins who end up being the ones who rewrite history.
So which version wins out this time?
Both men have been world number 1. Both have proven themselves on all surfaces. Both have steamrolled the rest of the field. But they do it in completely different ways, with wildly contrasting core identities and fundamentally opposite approaches to winning. Jannik plays tennis like he's solving a physics problem in real time. Linear, repeatable, efficient. Every ball has a target, and Jannik always looks to control the center of the court. The rallies follow a pattern. He eliminates every margin of error until there's literally nowhere left for you to hide. Watch even just a few of his matches and you'll see it. The exact same pattern. It's not flashy, but it's suffocating. Alcaraz, though, he's playing a different sport entirely. Sure, he knows the fundamentals, that's why he's an elite pro, but most of the time, he's out there improvising like a jazz solo. No script, no playbook. Just pure instinct and fearlessness.
He's got horsepower, this guy.
Alcaraz creates chaos. Shots you don't expect. Angles that just shouldn't exist.
That being said, I just can't help but wonder who comes out on top in the next decade. Yes, I know it's pointless, but it's fun, so we're doing it.
If Carlos defends Roland Garros, he'll have twice as many majors as Jannik. We could end up with one guy at 20+ slams and the other stuck between 8 and 12. Or Sinner could beat him at the French to complete the career Grand Slam in the same year that Carlos did it.
Either way, it comes down to something I came up with. What I'm calling my future GOAT predictor.
It's far from perfect, and I'm pretty sure you'll find some flaws in it. On the screen, we've got 8 criteria. We're awarding points to whoever comes out on top. Let's break it down. Health shapes careers. We'll never know what a healthy Juan Martín del Potro or Robin Soderling could have achieved. With Sinner and Alcaraz, it's different. Both players have enjoyed relatively healthy careers up until this point. That said, it's Jannik who's the one who fades under the most extreme conditions. Cramps, puking, we've seen the works.
You can see it now.
Sinner is most vulnerable when it gets hot and humid, and as you might already know, he has a terrible record in matches that go over the 4-hour mark. He might want to spend less time training in Monte Carlo and more time in places like Florida, Dubai, or Spain. Places where he can build up his heat tolerance. Carlos has dealt with injuries too. Forearm, leg, ankle. When you're that explosive, minor setbacks kind of come with the territory. He's cramped up a few times. But if there's anyone who can play a 5.5-hour semifinal and show up fresh 2 days later, it's Carlitos.
That said, his high-intensity style is incredibly taxing on the body, and even the best athletes lose a step as they age. In any case, picking Alcaraz over Sinner in the health category is a no-brainer. And if Alcaraz stays healthier over time, it's pretty likely that he's going to be the one who ends up with more slams.
Up next, we have consistency. The narrative floating around social media, Sinner gives you a solid 8 out of 10 every match. Reliable, almost robotic. Alcaraz is up and down. Sometimes a 6, sometimes a 12. Sometimes he's untouchable, and sometimes beatable by guys outside the top 20.
Here's the truth. The narrative is outdated.
Maybe you could argue this in previous seasons, but even then it was overblown. Carlos doesn't lose focus between games or sets anymore. He still has higher highs than Jannik, but the lows, they're just not as low as they used to be. Over the last 9 months, Alcaraz has been just as consistent match to match. Fewer bad losses, deep runs at every tournament. I'm going with Alcaraz on this one. Yeah, I know some of you picked Sinner for the W here, and as always, let's go duke it out in the comments.
In my opinion, Alcaraz has shown that he can be just as consistent as Sinner.
The next category is the skill set. Usually, the more complete player adapts better when things get tough, but in this case, Alcaraz is more complete. Like Federer, he's got the touch, control, forehand, net game, drop shots, lobs, variety for days. He's just elite at everything. The footwork is explosive. Court coverage, forget about it. It's lightning fast. Even his return of serve doesn't get talked about enough. At the Australian Open, Djokovic completed 5 matches, and these were his first serve win percentages from those 5 matches. Djokovic in his late 30s is one of the best spot servers in history. Sinner limited him to 71.4%, but Alcaraz, 65.9%. To put that in perspective, only Sebastian Baez in the top 50 has won fewer than 66% of first serve points. And the way he plays, he's kind of looking like the second coming of Diego Schwartzman. So with that said, Carlos basically made Djokovic record Baez numbers on serve. Same story at the US Open semifinal last year. Now, flipping to Sinner, he's deadly on the return too. Better backhand with more RPMs, better serve, arguably better rally tolerance, more reliable from the baseline.
Their styles are so different, so it's really hard to pick. But personally for me, I've always had Alcaraz as the more well-rounded and complete player.
The next criterion is the surface matchup. Both men have proven themselves on all surfaces. At this point, it's tough to call who has the advantage. Hard courts make up most of the tour, and Sinner's game, the pace, ball striking, repetition, is built for it. We thought he was untouchable there, but somehow Alcaraz won the last 2 hard court slams, a surface many considered his weakness. He's also closed the gap on indoor hard courts, but still, I'd give Sinner the edge indoors. On clay, Sinner was 1 point away from winning Roland Garros last year, so he can go toe-to-toe with Carlos. And with the surfaces getting more homogenized, you don't really need to adapt your game as much for clay anymore. But Alcaraz is still the 2-time defending champ, and his physicality, variety, and court coverage still give him the edge on the slower courts. What about grass? Well, both men have won Wimbledon. Sinner beat Alcaraz in the final last year and back in 2022. Wimbledon grass plays to Jannik's strengths. Huge flat ground strokes, the big serve, the low bounce that lines up perfectly in his strike zone, neutralizing Carlos's explosiveness and physicality.
Grass still feels like a wild card though, and it's really tough to pick who's going to be the better player on the surface over time. I'm really torn here. My mind says Sinner, but my heart says Alcaraz. That said, grass does lend itself to shorter points, which ultimately is going to better suit Jannik's game, especially as both guys age. They'll for sure have many more battles at SW19, but I'm giving Jannik the edge here.
But what about their head-to-head? Well, look at how many slams arch rivals deny each other. Nadal denied Federer in slam finals 6 times, Djokovic 5 times. Djokovic beat Federer in 4 major finals. Sampras Agassi, McEnroe Borg, same story. Jannik and Carlos are clearly better than the rest of the field, and they've collectively stopped Novak at 7 slams. At the moment, no player can beat both of them in a single competition, which invariably means that we're going to see these men play each other in many more finals.
And it's simple. Whoever beats the other more is gonna be the one who ends up with more majors.
Right now, Alcaraz has the head-to-head advantage, but who says Sinner can't turn it around this year, or in the coming years? Jannik needed those wins over Carlos at Wimbledon and the ATP finals for his confidence, and that would give him even more confidence going into their matchups in the future. At the moment, it's still too close to call, but Carlos, once again, seems to have the slight edge.
Guys, if you're loving this video, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing here on Courtside Tennis. We have so much more content like this coming your way, as well as a couple of cool projects I'm working on in Miami, Indian Wells, and in Austin. I can't wait to share it all with you, so stay tuned on the channel.
Now let's talk about performance under pressure. When the pressure is crushing in the late stages of a slam, who do you trust more? Or let me rephrase. If both guys had to play a single point to save your life, who are you picking? Jannik or Carlos? This matters when comparing GOATs because the most important matches in history are decided by the finest margins. The more clutch you are under pressure, the more you get rewarded. Sinner is clutch, but there are levels to this. Alcaraz plays the biggest points better than anyone. He's mentally tough, better problem solver, and he adapts on the fly. I think he wins a lot of the titles over his career simply because he's been better under pressure.
Moving on to peak, I honestly don't really think either guy has fully maxed out their potential yet.
Sinner turns 25 in August, and you could say he's closer to his physical prime. Meanwhile, Alcaraz is 2 years younger. His best days are probably still ahead, which is absolutely terrifying. Who the heck wins 7 majors at 22? Sinner's style guarantees longevity, but Carlos, like Nadal before him, could sustain his physical game for years. Alcaraz has the higher peak, and Sinner's built for a longer run at the top. Hypothetically, we could see Carlos racking up 4 or 5 seasons with 3 majors each, while Jannik grants to 8 to 10 seasons with 1 or 2 majors and maybe a season with 3. Who knows?
Who are we picking here, guys? It's a coin toss.
For me, you have to go with the data you have in the moment rather than trying to predict health and longevity, among other factors.
For this reason, I'm going with Alcaraz, but if anyone comes back here in a few years and points out that I'm completely eating my words on this take, honestly, respect to them.
Last but not least, we have the competition or depth of field. We know both guys push each other to the limit, but sometimes external factors shape how rivalries play out. Think about Prime Djokovic losing 2 slam finals, not to Nadal or Federer, but to Wawrinka. 2 losses to Stan, 2 more to Murray. It adds up. Sometimes one guy gets tripped up by the competition more than the other. Recently, players like Djokovic, Zverev, and even Cam Norrie have had more success against Alcaraz than Sinner. Norrie in particular has beaten Carlos 3 times, and I have to say, I find it a bit amusing. Meanwhile, apart from Carlos, I don't see any other player that's consistently given Sinner problems in the past 2 years. Medvedev did beat Sinner a bunch of times in the past, but that was before Sinner became the Sinner we know today. Lastly, we have to look at the bad losses, and over the last couple of seasons, Alcaraz has definitely had more of them. He's turned it around lately, but I wouldn't be surprised if he racks up more random losses over the course of his career. So with that in mind, I think this one goes to Sinner.
At the end of the day, Alcaraz is the one who ticks the most boxes. He looks like the one who's more likely to pull away. Does he end up with more majors than Sinner over the course of his career? Well, I kind of think so, but I also see a scenario where it's a decade-long deadlock and we're here having the same debate 5 years from now.
But like I said earlier, this future GOAT predictor is far from perfect, so really, it's just a fun debate to see where your heads are at. And I gotta say, it's been awesome reading the comments lately and seeing what you guys think about the SinCaraz rivalry.
But over to you. Who do you think ends up pulling away? Sinner or Alcaraz? Because one way or another, 2026 is gonna be the year we start finding out.